Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BNR. It's me, Gene, on a midday show. We thought, you know what, I'll do a few more midday shows now going forward. So here I am. First and foremost, guys, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And yeah, I thought I'd do a quick midday show. What does the future look like? You know what? I know we didn't have a game in midweek, and I thought, you know what? Let's do a show. Let's see what the future looks like for Liverpool Football Club from 2020, summer of 2026 onwards. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was sort of playing FIFA, Champ Manager, whatever you want to call it. So here I am, trying to get a few players out, get a few players in, and see what the future looks like for Liverpool. But guys, first and foremost, Liverpool completed the signing of Jeremy Jacquet. For me, look, guys, I'm not gonna lie, the signing was great. I was really happy with the signing. I thought, you know what, yeah, let's, he was courted by a lot of the top clubs. Chelsea being one of them. Who we beat towards the signing. We know United were linked to him as well. They did ask the question regarding him, but Liverpool got their man. And yeah, for the summer of 2026. So yeah. That was I was happy with that signing. I thought, you know what, Liverpool are finally doing some sort of future planning for when the likes of Virgil van Dijk leaves, and then you've got issues with the contract of Ibu Konate, and we all know the injuries that Joe Gomez has on a regular over his career at Liverpool Football Club. So all in all, I was really pleased with the signing of Jeremy Jacquet. Guys, first and foremost, Vasudev, big up. Thank you very much. He goes, yes, Gene. Gene, great to see you. Nadir goes, Gene, big up. Ale, big up. And yeah. So how does this Liverpool team, what does this Liverpool team look like in the summer of 2026? I don't really want to talk about this season now, because I thought, you know what, we know where we stand. If we're honest, this is the team. We didn't really sign anybody in January. And this is going to be our team going forward. Until the rest of the season. It looks like we all saw the presser, the round the table with Richard Hughes as well. And I think it's safe to say that he's got the backing of the board, and the board will back him probably till the end of the season now. And whatever happens now till the end of the season, we will evaluate everything at the end of the season. And if we get Champions League football and have a decent run in the Champions League, then it seems like Arne Slot will probably stay. If we don't play good football and we miss out on the Champions League, and I think then the writing will be on the wall for Arne Slot come the summer. But this summer's a massive one. We had a huge summer last summer where we went in hard. We bought in arguably some of the best players in world football in Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, and then also the signing of Hugo Ekitike, who at the time probably didn't seem as big of a signing, but now it seems like an unbelievable signing. And then you add Milos Kerkez and you add Jeremy Frimpong with a Giovanni Leone, and he thinks, you know what, that was a good summer. But make no mistake, guys, Liverpool need another huge summer. Liverpool need another massive summer, because there are players in this football team right now that simply, number one, their contracts will be up soon. Number two, there's decisions to be made regarding some players. Are they good enough to carry? Are they good enough over the next 4 to 5 years at this football club? And end of the day, there are positions in this football club that need strengthening. And we're at another crossroads. We're at a crossroads where Liverpool simply have to go in strong, go in hard, and see what happens. And Ale goes, this season is a write-off from the owners and results. Look, in terms of write-off, I agree that we've written off going for a title. Yes, that I can accept. But that doesn't mean that you write off, going for a Champions League spot. That doesn't mean you write off trying to go and win a Champions League. Liverpool have European royalty in the Champions League. Liverpool are one of the clubs that have a love affair with the European Cup. And it's one of them where anything can sort of happen. You look around the teams in Europe and you think nobody is unbelievable. Nobody is showing signs that they're the clear favourite for this year's Champions League. And if anything, when you look at the top 8 and you see 5 English teams in that top 8, it asks you the question, doesn't it? Will an English side win the European Cup this season? And it's probably right to say that there's a big chance that an English side will win it, because where the English sides are really, really strong when it concerns the Champions League, especially with 5 already in the top 8, and then you've got Newcastle who will be playing their the round of 32. And it seems, I think they've got Monaco. Is it not Monaco? They've got Karabag, sorry. So it looks like that'll be another team that in the round of 16. There'll be 6 teams in the round of 16. And I think probably if you look at the teams, Liverpool will probably struggle more against the English sides than against the European sides. And that's what this season's taught us. Well, Liverpool have done really well in the Champions League, but haven't done so well in the league. Obviously, there's reasons for that. We've seen Anthony Gordon come out and say that one of the biggest reasons is you're allowed to play football. We're a footballing team in Europe. You're allowed to play football. It's a lot more attacking, whereas the English Premier League this season has been mainly about, long balls, throwings, going, it's all about physicality, and which we lack, and which, if I'm honest, the board and Slot got wrong in the summer. They didn't know where the league was going. So we probably are in an area now that thinks, okay, is probably our best bet. We'll at least go and try and win the Champions League. But yeah, moving on to what the title is for this show. It's what does the future look like? And if you look at the Liverpool team right now, guys, there are question marks on certain players. There's question marks on what will happen with their contracts, because there's quite a few that are up for contract renewals in the next year, and more so over the next 2 years. I think it's fair that Liverpool start in regards to Liverpool's backline, especially once we completed the signing of Jeremy Jacquet. I think it's fair for us to start in that area. And if you look at the centre back area, Liverpool currently have Virgil van Dijk, will be 35 soon. Then you've got Virgil van Dijk, who's 35. You've got Ibu Konate, whose contract is up. You've got a young Giovanni Leone, and then you've got a Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez, who we all know, I think he's got 1 year left in his contract after this year, and we know he's injury prone. Then you've got a youngster in Giovanni Leone, who is, he's only played 1 game of football at Liverpool Football Club, and coming back from a massive injury. And there are major question marks. Of course, the signing of Jeremy Jacquet is huge, because that will give us a signing for the summer. Look, going through some centre backs who I thought would fit this Liverpool system, the way that we play. And I asked the question on Twitter, and I actually included Ibu Konate in there. If Ibu Konate was to stay at this football club, and Liverpool signed a Nico Schlotterbeck, I think Liverpool could arguably have one of the best defensive centre-back areas in the league, and then we could really challenge Arsenal for that position. Because if we kept Ibu Konate, and we don't know if Ibu Konate is going to stay, if Ibu Konate stays and you have a back 5-6 of Ibu Konate, Jeremy Jacquet, Giovanni Leone, Virgil van Dijk, and then you add a Nico Schlotterbeck in there, a 5, you've got 5 fantastic centre-backs that offer you something different. You've got the passing ability of obviously Virgil van Dijk. You've got the unbelievable passing ability of Nico Schlotterbeck, and then you've got the physicality. You've got the physicality, and then you've got the ball playing centre backs. You've got players who are actually good enough to go out into wide areas, like Jeremy Jacquet, and then obviously you've got the physicality of Ibu Konate, who can also be the physical specimen. If you look at the aerial duels in terms of percentages, These guys are fantastic monsters. These guys are monsters in the air. You've got, there was a stat flying around that if Jeremy Jacquet and Giovanni Leone have two in terms of aerial duels won, they're on around the 65% mark. And one of them was on 63, and I think one of them was on 65. And the next two, and they were number one and number two. So this is Liverpool proofreading their centre-back positions for years to come. But will Ibu Konate stay? Will Ibu Konate sign that contract that is in front of him? I'm not so sure, but I don't. A couple of weeks ago, I'll be honest, I thought Ibu Konate would sign his contract. But with the signing of Jeremy Jacquet, I think it does question if Liverpool have sort of moved on from Ibu Konate, because he does play in his position. And do Liverpool make a move in terms of another centre-back? Will Schlotterbeck be the other centre-back once Konate goes? So then you've got Schlotterbeck, Leone, Van Dijk, and Jeremy Jacquet. Is that enough to go and challenge the big boys? Personally, if I'm honest, I think you need five. I think we need five centre-backs. If we can keep Ibu Konate and sign a Bastoni or sign a Nico Schlotterbeck, that is what you call a centre full of quality. That is a centre-back area that possess every single natural ability required for the centre-back area. If you want to go up against Arsenal, then you got to have enough centre-back area. You look at the likes of Arsenal, they've got at least 5 or 6 centre-backs who can, some profiles that can play out wide, but their centre-back area is stacked with players who are good enough to play there and are good enough to play out wide. And I think this is what Liverpool need to do. Liverpool need to have good enough players in that position that can, because Van Dijk is 35. We're going to have to start phasing him out soon. And if we are phasing Van Dijk out, then you need to have at least 2 centre-backs who are good enough to play in that area. You can't thrust all the pressure on a young Giovanni Leone. It's just unfair. So I believe Liverpool have to make a move for another centre-back who's good enough to play in the left-back position, like a Nico Schlotterbeck. Because if Andy Robertson is going to leave next summer, and you got Milos Kerkez, you need another profile of player who can play there. And if we're honest, we don't. Do you trust Anito? Probably not. I would rather sell Simicas, bring in a left-footed centre back who can play out wide, like a Bastone, like a Schlotterbeck. But if we're asking for a left back, then it's probably more of a Bastoni sort of player. And that's when you know what, you've got a proper team, a structure, players who love to defend, who can progress the ball, who are aggressive. When you've got the likes of Jacquet, because I love his aggressiveness, and that is what Liverpool need. And we will have to wait and see what happens with the centre back area. But if we were to go with a back, let's start with a back four of a Frimpong, Bradley as your right backs. Then you've got Jacquet, Leone, VVD, Schlotterbeck, and Kerkez. So you've lost Gomez and you've lost Ibu Konate. I think we're going to we need to sign another left back to cover Kerkez. Then is that enough? Do you guys believe that if Liverpool sign Schlotterbeck and Jacquet, obviously Jacquet is done, but we lose Ibu Konate, is that good enough? I don't think it is. I genuinely don't think it's good enough. I think we need one more. Personally, a versatile player, probably, or if we were to keep Ibu Konate, that's enough. So Vanch goes, that's enough. So okay, if he says that's enough, then fair play. So your 4 centre-backs for the summer, would you be happy with Jacquet, Leone, VVD and Schlotterbeck as your 4 centre-backs going forward? And then you've got the likes of Frimpong, Bradley and Kerkez, with Schlotterbeck doing playing minutes in place of Kerkez in a certain amount of games. A lot of people agree that they would be happy with that with that back line. Aditya goes, get a versatile player in. I think you need one more versatile player. Ozair goes, not enough. Ethan says, I agree. Charles 100%. Jordan Caddy says no. I would like one more player because I don't think that's enough. When you've got a few players, literally, you've got 3 new players in this team. You've got Xhaka, brand new player, never played in the league. Schlotterbeck never played in the league. We can say Leone's never played in the league as well because he's played half a game. And then you've got a 35-year-old Virgil van Dijk. I would love for Liverpool to keep Ibu Konate and give him and get him to sign a contract. If you're really serious about challenging on every single front, you got to have a squad that's big enough. You keep Ibu Konate, you keep Virgil van Dijk for another year. So you've got 5 centre-backs for 1 year. Van Dijk will go a year after, and then you've got 4 players who've actually played in the Premier League, who've got Premier League experience once Van Dijk has gone. That's what you call really, proofing your centre-back area. Because that is, let's be honest with that area and the winger area is probably the most important area come the summer, and we simply can't get it right. You simply cannot get wrong these 2 positions, because in the last 6-7 years we've arguably the best centre back in world football and arguably the greatest player in the Premier League history in Mohamed Salah. And we're actually gunning to replace these 2 players now, so we have to get it right. And you simply cannot get it wrong, because get it wrong from here and it can cause major issues going forward. So I would give Ibu Konate his contract, and I will still go strong if we're able to bring in a Schlotterbeck, for example. So yeah, that's the centre back area. And I was just looking at the centre back area in terms of costs. We've spent 55 million on Jeremy Jacquet. Schlotterbeck will probably cost you, because he's down to 1 year left on his contract. Then I think £35 million for Schlotterbeck. You can get him for around that £35 million mark. And if you get Ibu to sign that contract, if you're and you've signed 2 new centre backs, if you add in the Leone fee around 30 million quid, we've done pretty well. We've bought in approximately around about £130 million. You bought in 3 centre backs who are going to be your future, and then you've got them kids that we bought. Look, they're a different conversation. But when you've spent 140 million pound on 3 centre backs who are going to be the cornerstone of your future, you kept Ibu Konate on a contract. That is me really saying, you know what, I'm happy with that. So yeah, that is the defensive side of this Liverpool team going forward. I would love to keep Ibu and sign Schlotterbeck, and then we can say, you know what, this football club is really ready to go on all fronts. Because I don't want to be sat here next season saying, oh, we're short in a certain area. We're short because we didn't give one of our players a contract. It's just not, for me, that's not good enough. And to challenge for every single trophy like Liverpool want to, you got to have a squad big enough and good enough to challenge. And that's what Liverpool need to do. Moving on to the midfield area, we currently have the likes of Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai, and you'd say you can actually put in Florian Wirtz because he plays a 10. If that's our midfield this season, and we've had issues with the midfield, right, in terms of aggressiveness, we've seen issues with Alexis McAllister. There was a report today that broke through that Real Madrid did like McAllister. They looked at him. He's a player that they do like. In the midfield area, then, guys, how many of them players do you think will leave the football club in the summer? That's the question. How many of them do you think will leave this summer? Because question marks over Curtis Jones, 1 year left on his contract. There was news that there was murmurings regarding him going to Spurs at the start of the window, and obviously you all saw the rumors that broke through regarding Inter Milan. And then obviously in the background we know there's contractual conversations where, you know, in terms of what the money is going to be, we don't know what the fee, what he's wanting. He probably wants first team football. When I say first team football, I mean guaranteed first team football. And then obviously with Alexis McAllister, you know, I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. Unbelievable season last season, not the best of seasons he had. And then you've obviously got Sismo goes. You've got the lights. Oh, sorry, where's it gone now? So Sismo goes. He goes. Jones, Endo 100%. Maka leaves, I would say 50%. I didn't add Endo in the conversation because I think he's going to go anyway. And he hasn't really played many games in the league, even though we do need a replacement for him. But I think his replacement, if I'm honest, is going to be like a Nyone. So, because they probably will, Nyone will, you know, in terms of his need for Liverpool, will coincide with Endo leaving. So if we lose two midfielders, like a lot of people are saying, Shelley says two will leave, Macker and Jones. A lot of people are saying two will leave. Two, Aki goes two. Malaki Griag, I hope I've not butchered up your name. He says two. Mack and Jones, Vance. So it feels like there's going to be two players leaving this football club in terms of the midfield. If McAllister and Jones both leave this football club, right, we need to replace them with two players. I think Liverpool need to bring in somebody who's got the physical attributes and somebody who can give you progression. Because I think we need that. We don't have that with Gravenberch right now. Gravenberch is a brilliant glider. Gravenberch is unbelievably press resistant. He gives you not. I don't think anybody in world football can give you what Gravenberch gives you in terms of being able to beat a man on the half turn. I think he's unbelievable at it. But what he doesn't possess is he doesn't have the passing ability. He doesn't have real physicality. So you look around and you think you need to bring in some sort of players in that area who are able to give you the progression and give you the legs as well at the same time. Because you can't have Gravenberch and somebody next to him who doesn't have legs. You know, Hugo Ekitekazi goes P&P, physical pace and power, what we call it. And yeah, a lot of people, you know what? A lot of people are saying these two names. Bring me Wharton and Buwadi. And I think, you know, I see Vance goes Wharton and Keith Schmidt, Guy, interest. They're the two that are the real names that are on everybody's lips in regards to the midfield position for Liverpool next season. And if I'm honest with you, when I was looking at it and I looked at profiles, I want Anderson over Wharton just because of the physicality aspect. And everybody knows that watches the show. I've always been a massive advocate for Wharton. I absolutely adore Wharton. I think he's an unbelievable footballer. He's an unbelievable passer of the ball. The calmness that he brings this football, the team. We've seen him play against the big teams, and he's at times ran the football pitch. And there isn't many players in world football who have the passing ability as he does. His passing range is phenomenal. Does he have the physicality though? Where this league is going, does he possess the physical traits that, if I'm honest, Liverpool lacked this season? I'm not so sure. I don't think he does. Whereas when I look at a player like an Elliot Anderson, he's somebody who has the physical attributes. He has the passing range as well. Maybe not to the level of Adam Wharton, but he has the ability to pick out a pass. What I loved about Anderson is he demands the ball in every single position. I've seen games in where he's involved all the time. He wants to be involved. And I really, really like that about Elliot Anderson. But I think, if I'm honest, I think he will go to one of the Manchester clubs. And Liverpool will probably bring in Adam Wharton. We all know he's liked by Liverpool Football Club. And I think he's probably the one that's earmarked to play in this position. And let's be honest, guys, there is an issue with Liverpool's home-grown quarter. There is an issue. We have to start soon bringing in some English players who can play and who fit the quarter, because otherwise we're going to really struggle. if we start bringing in the Buwadis and other players from other areas, then we need people who are going to be good enough to play, who actually enhance our quarter. So that's another interesting one. That Anderson and Wharton are two that do fit that criteria. So it'll be interesting to see what Liverpool do. But I made a list before the game who I think it'll be, and I think Liverpool, as much as I know Asim loves an Onana, a real physical specimen, I think Liverpool will probably go for Adam Wharton. If Adam Wharton and Ayub Buwadi, like the chat are saying, are the two names that come in for Curtis Jones and Alexis McAllister, do you guys think them two players are good enough? And would you guys be happy with them two? Guys, you are losing Alexis McAllister and you are losing Curtis Jones. So let's not, make it right like you're not losing some good players. You're losing two brilliant footballers. And you're replacing them with Adam Wharton and Ayub Buwadi. I want to, is that good enough? Or is that just like we're replacing them? So it'll be interesting to see what the chat thinks regarding that. Vanch goes no. CBA, he goes disappointed losing Jones. Nifsa goes no idea how about Buwadi plays. I'll be honest, I really like Buwadi. He's still young though, but he's a brilliant footballer. I believe he's got all the attributes. Avi's been going on about Buwadi for a long time, and the more I see him, you can see this lad. When he fills in a couple of year or two time, this kid is going to be some footballer. Uzair, big up to you, mate. He goes, no, not physical enough with Wirtz and Wharton. I like that. I think it's a side. Cop Connections, big up, because I think it's a side way step. Agreed. I agreed with you. I actually agree with you. Gareth goes, we need a Scouser in the squad. And look, if I'm honest with you, I'll stick with this comment and I'll speak a little bit about it. Do we want a Scouser in our team? 100% we do. We always like the fact that there's a Scouser in this football team, and I like I like what Jones brings Liverpool Football Club. Is it a need or a necessity? I don't. If I'm honest with you, bring me a footballer who's better, and I don't care if he's Scouser or not. I'll be honest. Yes, it's a good one, and then if you can get one, you're happy with it. But if I'm honest with you, if it's Curtis Jones or a player that's better than him, I want that player that's better than him. I don't care if he's a Scouser. I'll be honest. End of the day, you need players that are good enough to play for this football club, who are gonna, if you believe, are able to take this club to another level. So a lot of people are saying Buwadi and Wharton doesn't really, tickle them in terms of the midfield. Which two midfielders would then? If you were to lose Curtis Jones and Alexis McAllister, okay, I'll tell you what. What if I said to you, we keep one of them, we keep an Adam, we keep I think Jones will leave, if I'm honest. I just can't see Liverpool giving him the contract that he wants, and with only 2 years left, 1 year left on his contract, I think it's probably time that we might cash in on him, And if we lose Endo and a Jones, and then we replace him with Wharton and Buwadi, that is the perfect window, because we keep McAllister then. We keep McAllister for another year, and if he wants to go a year after, that's fine. We've brought in the likes of Wharton and Buwadi. I'll take that. Anderson and Wharton, look, what's his name? Where's he gone now? I've really missed his comment now, mate. Where's it gone now? Don't know where it's gone, lad. Somebody put up a comment about Anderson and Wharton being the two guys. If we got them two, it would be the perfect midfield. They would them two. If I said to you getting Anderson and Wharton for Jones and McAllister, you'd bite my hand off right now. That's the perfect scenario. But like Nifsa says, that's not realistic. I think we get one of them. between Anderson, Wharton, and Baleba, I believe one of them will be at Liverpool Football Club, one of them will be at United, which is probably Baleba, and another one will be at City. So I think that's where these three players will be come next season. Zaid, okay, I want to speak about Pablo Barrios and Adam Wharton. Again, I have to give a lot of credit to Avi for this one. Pablo Barrios, Avi mentioned 18 months ago that he is a player, Gene. We should go and sign Barrios. And I'm not going to lie, I never heard of him. And I actually took the piss out of him saying, yeah, Emmy, you just give me names, plucking names out of thin air. But I've watched Barrios a few times this season, and the kid is a brilliant footballer. He has the legs. He's good with technical ability. If we can't sign an Anderson, Barrios is probably the replacement. If we don't sign an Anderson, Barrios on Wharton, good boys, that is the perfect. If we can't, obviously not Anderson, them two would be brilliant signings. And again, look, I've got to give Avi his credit here. Brilliant. He was right. He was 100% right. And I have to, hold my hands up and say he mentioned Pablo Barrios to us a while ago. So, credit to him for that. But if I could take them two 100%, Camavinga and McAllister swap deal, would we take that? I think every single person in the chat would say yes to a Camavinga and McAllister swap deal. But Pablo Barrios, he's the name that I actually wrote down on here as well. He was one that's a really, really good profile, and I think he makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. People are mentioning Keith Schmidt. Look, Smith, I've watched him a couple of times. I haven't seen a load of him. A lot of people rate him highly. He has, from what I've seen, he looks like a good midfielder, a tidy midfielder. Has a lot of attributes. He has all the attributes, if I'm honest, from what I've seen of him, and that's not a lot. But you guys, can probably give me a lot more about him. He's a player that I'll probably have to check out a bit more. But a lot of people are beginning to mention his name. He's the bee's knees, and he's got a really, really high ceiling. Wow, somebody said he's biting my hand off. Paul, he goes, I'd take your hand off for a swap for Jones and McAllister for Wharton and Buwadi. Wow, seems like he really rates Wharton and Buwadi. Schmidt and Wharton, ideally. For the guys that have seen Barrios and Schmidt, who would you choose between the two? If you had a choice between Pablo Barrios and Keith Schmidt, who would you choose? That's one that I'd like to know an answer to that, between Barrios or Schmidt. Because I'd really rate Barrios, man. I think Barrios, bloody hell, Barrios 100 million. Wow. Firpo Lijos. I thought it was around 70 million pound mark. 100 million. Wow. Dev Kapoor is the one who goes Smith. Uzair goes Barrios, Aditya Barrios. Guys, there's around 120 of you in here, guys. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. We will be doing a lot more shows during the day. It'll probably be me. Asim's always at work, but he will be getting our content out during the day as well. But from my side, I will be beginning to do, a show every day or every other day during the day as well. So guys, just remember that. Do join us during the day for our daily shows. Now we are trying to bring you a lot more content. So yes, let's move on to the midfield position. Guys, I have to take this call. I apologize. It's an important one. It's work related. You have to give me 30 seconds. Sorry about that, guys. The winger situation. Now, this is probably, like I mentioned, the area of the defense and the winger is probably the most important area. And if you look at that area, currently we have Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo, who can play on the wing? Rio Ingamua, Florian Wirtz, who does bits out wide, and Dominic Szoboszlai. They are our wingers. That's just not good enough. And that is one of the main reasons why Liverpool are not challenging and haven't been playing to the level that we should be, if we're honest. So if we're going by what's going to happen in the summer, let's be honest, Mohamed Salah will leave in the summer. So you're losing arguably one of the greatest players that has played in the Premier League, who's given us countless memories, goals, assists, creativity. And we all know Salah hasn't had the season, nowhere near the season that we've seen from him from previous years. And with everything that's going on, let's be honest, his days are over at Liverpool Football Club. He will move on. I think it's best for him and Liverpool to move on. Liverpool will get a fee. He will probably move on. He wants to play every game, and he will get his move to Saudi, which has always been there for him. And I think it's important Liverpool do sell him because we need the fee. And if we can squeeze, 40, 50 million pounds out of the Saudis, which I think we Liverpool hopefully will, maybe, okay, if it's not 40, 50, definitely 30, 40. If you can squeeze that out, that will help massively in regards to bringing in a replacement. Now, when you look at the replacements in the winger area, what do we have right now? The players that we've got right now, what have we been crying out for? Pace, pace, pace. I don't want to see any winger that doesn't have pace. That we're not gonna sign. They have to have elite pace. That is so important, and they don't exactly have to be players that are good because of their name. They have to be players who can play there, who are gonna help the likes of Ekatike, Isak, and Florian Wirtz. So if we're honest, does Alexander Isak press? Probably not nowhere near as what's required, but he does press. Does Ekatike half presser? Does Wirtz half? Does Gakpo no? Does Salah no? So you've got to rid of your two wingers. The two wingers that we bring in, they have to be elite at number one pressing, and they have to be players who are gonna give license to Florian Wirtz to play the way he wants to play. Because make no mistake, Florian Wirtz is the nucleus of this Liverpool football team going forward. He is the man. There's no, he is, because he is that type of footballer. He's our 10, and everything is going to run through him. So we need two players, number one, who have the pressing ability, and number two, are good enough. Who are good enough to stand a man up and beat a man. They are two unbelievable characteristics that Liverpool need. And I don't want players that don't have this characteristic. So, going by that, and a lot of people last summer said that there's a player who plays for Bayern Munich, goes by the name of Elise. Does he fit that metric? Does Elise fit that metric? If I'm honest, no. Would I sign Elise next season? No. He's an unbelievable footballer. I think he's a brilliant right winger. I think and I wanted him to replace Mohamed Salah. He was my Salah replacement, and I think he was probably everybody else's replacement on that side. But when you've signed a Wirtz in the 10, your reliance on the wingers is different now. So we have to bring in players who fit the system more than players with the names. And the two players that I want on that right-hand side are Diomande and Minte. I mentioned Minty going back about a year and a half ago, last season. I called him, he's probably going to be a breakthrough player at Brighton. But he didn't have the best of seasons, even though his pressing is amazing, his harrying is amazing. I think he's a decent dribbler of the ball. He just needs refining. But the player that I want more than anyone is Yan Diomande on that position. I think Yan Diomande in that position has got levels. I think this guy is going to be a fantastic, fantastic player. And I think he's got a crazy ceiling. I've watched clips of him. I actually watched quite a lot of him, especially at the AFCON. I know he played on the right-hand side quite a bit as well there during the AFCON as well. But He's a brilliant, brilliant footballer. And I think he has a massive ceiling. And I think he has the traits what Liverpool need. And then we have to look at finances. What would Yan Diomande cost us? Yan Diomande isn't going to cost you anything less than anything less than 80 million. I will tell you right now, Yan Diomande is not going to cost you anything less than 80 million. You're going to have to pay dough for him. So I think Liverpool have a call to make. Liverpool have a call to make in regards to that position. Do they go and spend massive on the wingers? Whereas Minty will probably cost you 60. Maybe if Brighton do get their money though, so maybe 70. Do you go in strong and go and pay top dollar for Yan Diomande, or do you go slightly less and bring in a Minty? Minty will be 50, like Nivsa says, Minty will be 50, 60 million pounds. So there's still good money that you're playing. But Minty has played in the Premier League. He knows the league. He's played here. He's going to be able to play in that sort of position. And this is an interesting one. Vanch says, he goes, I would sacrifice Barcola and do Diomande left wing, Minty right wing. Interesting. Because if you look at it, 1 second, give me 1 second, guys. So that'll be an interesting one. I think the right hand side is probably an interesting call, because you look at the names that are really out there. Look, I can't see Liverpool signing a Nico Williams, for example, but a Bradley Barcola, I think, is on. I think Liverpool like Bradley Barcola. They liked Bradley Barcola when he was at Lyon. Before he went to PSG, we've been monitoring him. He's had a brilliant season. Yes, he has a massive ceiling as well. Of course, look, there's certain things that we need to refine with him. I think his finishing needs improving. But what is he going to cost? Bradley Barcola is going to cost you 80 to 90 million pounds. That's not cheap. That's a lot of money. So can you see Liverpool spending 80 on Barcola, 80 on Diomande? Well, 80, 90 on Diomande. So it's 160, 70 million pounds on then two players. My take on this is, if Salah goes for 50 million pounds or 40 million pounds and we get decent money, and Liverpool sell Cody Gakpo, if we're honest, if he's linked to Bayern Munich, we saw links with him last season, that he's probably worth around 60, 65 million. So if you're selling him for 65, you've put in another 15 million. You go and buy a 15 million. You go and buy a Bradley Barcola. I will be happy with that. You sign a Yan Diomande. You sell Salah for 40, 50 million. You go and put a premium of 30, 40 million. You go and sign Yan Diomande. So is it possible? Yes, it's possible, because we're replacing, but we've put, like Slots mentioned, we've sold, put a bit on top, and bought in a player. We're not exactly enhancing a position. What I mean by that is, we're not enhancing a position in terms of squad depth. We're just enhancing the profile of a player in terms of, hopefully, an improvement in that area. And if we're honest, people are mentioning the likes of Yildiz. I don't think Yildiz is coming to the Premier League. If I'm honest, I don't think he will leave for the Premier League yet. So it'll be interesting to see what Liverpool do in that position. Me personally, and this is what I would do. And I've just mentioned to you the two players I would go all in for, and that's Bradley Barcola and Yan Diomande, and I would sell Salah and Cody Gakpo in the summer, because I've got a player in Rio another year who can hopefully play there. I've got the Yan Diomande who can play on both sides, which is massive, which is a huge plus, that he can play on both. And I even think Barcola at times can play out on that side as well. So if you had a forward line now that consists of Diomande and Rio, then you've got Wirtz in the 10 with Szoboszlai. and a Barcola, and then Ekatike and Isak. And we know Ekatike, if we need to play out wide, he can, if we really need it. Them guys are your 5 forwards for the season. And then maybe you keep a youngster if you have to. Look, Chiesa will probably leave as well. So, if that is the Liverpool team, and we are looking at that, you've got your 2 goalkeepers. I think Alisson will stay. Alisson and Mama Dashvili. Your right backs will stay the same. We are not changing our right backs in terms of Frimpong and Bradley. Then you've got Xhaka, Leone, Van Dijk, Schlotterbeck, Stroke, Bastone. And then you've got Kirkes as your left back. And then you've got Gravenberg, Wharton, Szoboszlai, Wirtz 10, Gravenberg, Wharton. We put in 2 players. We put in I think we will only sell McAllister or Jones. I don't think we'll get rid of both. One of them, but I think, and it'll be McAllister that will stay with a Buwadi, right? Buwadi. I would love Barrios, but I think it'd probably be Buwadi. And then you've got a forward line of Diomande, Rio, Barcola, Ekatike, Isak, right? With that, we've still got Kanate in that team. So if I look at that team right now, you've got rid of Salah for 40, 50 million. You've got rid of Cody Gakpo for around 60 million, Curtis Jones for 40 million, and Chiesa for 10. Yeah, I'm playing chat manager here, yeah? So, yeah, you're out totaling around 160 million pounds, yeah? And then your incomings are going to be Schlotterbeck 35, Diomande 75, Barcola at 80, Wharton at 70, Jacquet obviously at, he's done, Buwadi around 45 million. That totals approximately around 160 million pounds, yeah? So your right winger, somebody asking who's the right winger? Your right winger is going to be Yan Diomande. I actually put Diomande at 75. Maybe I need to increase that to 85. Let's be honest, yeah. 85, yeah. So your net spend for the year is 210 million. And I think Liverpool would be happy to do that this summer. He plays on the left. I believe he can play on the right as well. I think him, Barcola can both play on the left and right. Not enough. We still short on wings. Quite a few players we're still short on wings. Is out of contract early. Bradley is Sorry, actually you're right. We actually do. He's right. I just remembered. You are actually right. Where's it gone now? This comment, Paul. I think we need a right back, mate. I think we're gonna have to. We don't have a choice. We're gonna have to go and bring in a Gertrude for that position, who can play, and help out in certain areas. I like this one. Buwadi the Badi. I like that one. Yeah, and if we're selling Gomez but get Guaituida next 20 million, so you're probably looking, if we had a net spend of around 200 to 40 million, 240, 250, that's a decent window. And where you've bought in the likes of Schlotterbeck, Diomande, Barcola, Wharton, Buwadi, and like a Guaituida, we can't really complain. And if it's supposed to be a mad summer again, then we can expect these sort of type of signings, especially with the outgoings, because with the outgoings we have sell-on value right now on some of these players. Gakpo, Jones, Salah, Chiesa only 10 million, but at least it's bringing somebody money in and you're improving them positions. So yeah, I think that's probably where we will probably be at the end of the season, guys. I don't know if you guys agree with the sort of team. I know, but I'm probably short in an area, but we can't do everything at once. We probably are short in the right wing area, if I'm honest. But I think if we have to move players across, we can. Right winger to Mo Salah goes. Who's backup right winger to Diomande? Look, we're gonna have to take a chance. There's gonna be time. We can't have. We can't go and do everything in one summer, and it takes a bit of times. Then you Complex gene. Look, I was having a laugh, man. I thought, you know what? I thought it'd be good to, speak about some hopefully some signings of this next year. We haven't signed anybody in January, so I thought, why not? Let's play chat manager and see what happens. But look, if this is our team and it's only £250 million spent, can we really complain? No. And I think a load of Liverpool fans would be happy. And then that's like now, then really future proofing our team, because all of the ages of our players will be most of them will be under the age of 25. And then you've done what Jurgen Klopp did, got them at the right age, and then you can make a go of it for the next 4 to 5 seasons where players are really, really good in their positions, in their right ages, and they're going to be at this football club for the next 5 years. And hopefully, kick on and hopefully challenge for big trophies. But guys, let me know what you guys think of the team. Guys, put up in the comments, put up your teams, what you think the squad should look like, who we should bring in, who we shouldn't bring in, who should be sold, who shouldn't be sold in the summer. But look, it's some fun, guys. I guess we didn't sign anyone. Why not have a bit of a laugh? But guys, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. I'm going to call it a day. And we're definitely going tonight. Join us for the show at 10 o'clock tonight for those of you who are free. And we will see you then. Take care, everyone. And I will see you tonight.